What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another MMA YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about the flyweight divisional tiering. If you watched our video on light heavyweight, that's what these videos are. Basically, we break the division into tiers and put every single fighter into their respective tier. We don't just use the rankings. We don't just use like how good we are, like where their place is in the division. So yeah.
Yeah, so for the first two videos, we have gone, we've chosen like the two kind of least interesting divisions for these specific videos. I know it's like weird not to sell the video that we're currently doing, but as we go on with this series, we'll get into like, you know, divisions with deeper talent pools, and the conversations around that will be a bit more interesting. We're getting light heavyweight and flyweight uh, over with is kind of practice for the series, but also because they genuinely matter as videos. Um, the, it, but the reason we've chosen these two, first light heavyweight, just kind of a bum division. It's pretty weak, other than like the top five, and then flyweight. I'd say probably has the clearest cut tiers of any division. Like there's pretty big skill gaps between each of the tiers you're gonna see. So
Although I think there's some very interesting
mhm,
kind of I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know. You'll see. There's some interesting things that go on in flyweight because everybody is so good, I
yeah.
guess.
Well, and it's mostly just like the champ level fighters have so consistently proven themselves this the past few years that it makes it pretty obvious for some of them. But let's not spoil the video. Let's get into it.
All right, well, we're going to start off with, like Will said, the most obvious tier, championship level. Also, the overalls that you see on the screen are from the spreadsheet linked below. It's linked in every single one of our videos and in our channel description. Basically, what it is we take pretty much every fighter in the UFC from flyweight to light heavyweight. Women's MMA and heavyweight are not real divisions, so we don't include them. And in general, we just don't really cover them on this channel. So we take every fighter and we basically give them attribute ratings akin to like a Madden or a FIFA and an overall rating. So that's what you'll see on the bottom of the screen. It's pretty much every relevant fighter in the UFC, ranked and unranked. Anyone past number 15 is our own subjective rankings. So yeah, go check that out. Use it as a guide to this video or any video. All right, let's just start off. I mean, yeah, like I said, this is the most obvious tier, right? We got Pantoja, Moreno, and Royval, 296s and a 95. These are just the clearly the best fighters in the division, right? They prove it time and time again. Sometimes beat each other. Of course, Pantoja in general wins the most because he's him and he's the
Five and
fucking
zero.
goat. And
Yeah, he is 5-0 over these two on his left and right. Um, so I'd like to mention Pantoja could possibly be in a tier of his own because he is so dominant in the flyweight division. But I think this is a pretty solid championship level of all guys who could definitely win a title. I mean, Moreno has been a multiple time champion and is still like near that level. Brandon Royval beat Moreno like pretty solidly. So, they're all kind of in this tier, but Pantoja, we gotta say, clearly above these other two guys.
that's why I made him slightly bigger on
Yeah.
the screen because like and like the title said, Pantoja owns flyweight, dude. He has a legal ownership of every single fighter in this division. He is dominant. He is so good. He just beats everybody. So yeah, he is a clear step above. But I just these are all championship level fighters. If this was a tier list, they would all be S tier. You know what I mean? So that's what this means. Anyways, yeah, let's get on to the next one because that's where it kind of gets a little more interesting, maybe very interesting for some people seeing Kai Asakura on the screen, and that little guy over there on the left. What's his name? Kai Car France. I did not just forget his name. Anyways, title contenders, right? These are the guys who I think it is very possible for them to win the belt. Of course, maybe not win the belt off of Pantoja because it seems like he's just going to be stupidly impossible to beat. But these are the guys who can win the belt, right? We got Steve Erceg in here and Manel Kopp, both at 93 and 92. I rate them very highly. We've seen them against the top level, and we've seen them be very competitive and very successful. And then Kai Car France and Kai Asakura. Kai Car France has obviously been in the UFC forever. He's pretty much fought everybody. He's really good. And then Kai Asakura, I'll talk. Will, if you want to say what you want about this tier, then I want to get on to Kai Asakura because I have a lot to say
Yeah.
about him.
So I'll just go left to right here. Kaikar France, he's really only convincingly lost to those, top level guys. As of late, like his only real solid L is to Moreno. Um, he's pretty proven at the top here. Maybe he'll be able to break through to title contention, or maybe he'll just get a title shot with how weird flyweight is right now. But he is the second lowest rated overall in here, and that is for a reason. Like, I don't think his bag is as deep, or I don't think he's as good as Erceg, even though he beat Erceg and Cop. But I think, styles make fights, as everybody says, everybody knows. And he was just a good stylistic matchup to beat Erceg. So I think he is a title contender. I don't know how much better he'll get, how like what his upward mobility is, but I think this is a good spot for him. Erceg, rough man, rough showing in the UFC. You go from KOing Matt Schnell to fighting Alexandre Pantoja. That should never happen. Uh, and he's a dog. Steve Erceg is a dog. He made it super competitive with Pantoja. I don't think he was robbed. I don't like that argument, but whatever. And then in his
This game,
next,
yeah.
yeah, in his next loss to KKF, it happens, and just lost to Moreno, which like you go from KKF to Moreno, how does that make sense in any way? That fight shouldn't have happened. He should definitely get if you're going to use boxing language, a tune-up fight, kind of someone lower like Asu Almabayev. I believe that's who you matched him up against in our matchmaking video. Yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, you can get the rest of that card. A little plug for that video, but Steve Erceg, he just needs a bounce back. He can definitely get back to title contention. I'll leave all the Kaya Sakura talk for you. But Manel Kopp is probably the best striker at flyweight. He hits super hard. If he can get in that flow state, he looks unbeatable. He's a little old, and he has weird moments where he just gets wrestle fucked. Like the Mokaev fight, horrible, man. Just awful performance for both guys. But Kappa's a loser there. He has some weird stuff sometimes, like having more trouble than he should have against like Felipe dos Santos. Is that the right dos Santos? There's so many. Whatever. Um, but overall, yeah, Manel Kopp is really good. And you can talk about the rest of them, but Kaya Sakura
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah, I mean, Will said all there is to say pretty much about these other three guys. Kyle Sakura, though, he got a lot of undue negative attention for the Pantoja fight. Because, yeah, he got smoked, right? But that's how he fights. If you've watched him in Ryzen, if you just know who he is, that is how he fights. He is a kill or be killed guy. He isn't the type of guy like Brandon Royval to, sit there and hang in the fight and like, stay on bottom and like, no, he's gonna, you know what? He's gonna throw the fucking kitchen sink at you as he did. He almost killed Pantoja with a flying knee. If that connects on anyone else in the division, it probably KOs them.
Yep.
So he has the crazy, fast twitch, explosive strikes. And if he can't get the finish, well, he isn't much on the ground. But the reason he's at 86 overall and the reason he's in this tier is because he can beat anyone and he is really, really good. Yes, he got finished by Pantoja because he's not going to sit on bottom and negate the grappling and do all this counter grappling and this anti grappling. Like, no, dude, he's going to try to get the fuck up and he's probably going to get choked out in the process. But hey, he's going to try because he's that explosive and his striking is that scary. So
Yeah.
I think the Kyle Sakura hate and negative attention is really undue. I think the guy is absolutely filthy and definitely deserving of
Mhm.
being in this tier, even if he's the lowest overall in this tier. Pretty clearly, in
Yeah.
my opinion, even though he's only one less than Kaikar France, it's just, yeah.
Incredible ability to find shots, to finish fights. Um, he is getting disrespected way more than he should, and I really don't like the UFC's treatment of him. Like very, very quickly dropping him out of the rankings. I think that's bullshit. It's just disrespectful to a guy who stepped up to fight your champ, and you're immediately trying to get rid of him out of the rankings. I mean, whatever. That's a different topic. But also, I want to shout out Kyoji Horiguchi, who's debuting in the UFC. Super excited about that. He's going to be fighting Tagir. We'll see how he looks. Pitbull just lost, but usually these guys out of the UFC, they win, and I think Kyoji absolutely has the tools to beat Tagir. I don't think Tagir's all that good, as we'll get to him later. But I'm assuming, as of right now, that Kyoji Horiguchi will be debuting in this title contender tier because I think he
Well,
really is that good.
re-debuting.
Yes,
because
re-debuting. Yes, I forgot it's
very
his second
successful,
stint in the UFC.
very successful first stint, but kind of just ended up going to Rise. But yeah, okay. This video is not about Kyoji. We'll probably have a video talking about him
Yeah,
when Aaron Pico's fight gets announced because it'll be like a combo video. But yeah, let's get on to the next tier.
just
We
wanted to
got the high
mention
end.
that though.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's important. We got the high-end prospects, all right? Obviously, the big one on the screen is Tatsuro Taira. He is definitely the best out of these three guys. And then we got Joshua Vane and Amir Albazi. You might be thinking, why the fuck is Amir Albazi in a prospect? Just, I'll get to it. But yeah, let's start off Tatsuro Taira. Like I said, the most obvious one. I mean, he's so elite. His grappling is so good. His striking is so bad. But dude, that grappling is probably the best at flyweight behind Pantoja, and it might be on that level. This
Also,
guy's
a really
grappling,
good chin, really good
it's
chin,
crazy.
good durability.
This guy's grappling and he's super tough, but he has no defense. As we saw in the Royval fight where he got the shit kicked out of him. So yeah, and you'll notice, dude, this is just how flyweight is. The three high-end prospects I have in this video have all lost. That's just how flyweight is, man. You're not in flyweight. Everybody is so close and everybody is so like good and has these good moments and good at everything. It is so hard to say like he lost to Charles Johnson in Joshua Van's case. He lost to Charles Johnson, so he's not a prospect. Like, no, dude, he's still a high-end prospect. He's still at the bottom of those rankings and he's still looking up. Tatsuro Taira. It's kind of weird calling him a prospect because he's like number 5 in the rankings, but he is so young. He's like 24, 23 or whatever. And he's has so much to improve on. I consider that a prospect. And then Amir Albazi, once again, kind of similar to Asakura because he stands out in this tier. I'll get to him after Will if you just want to run over these real quick.
Yeah, so Tyra, you could definitely argue him for title contender tier, but like you said, his striking bag is awful. Um, I really hope he can continue to improve, but he almost definitely will with how young he is. So Tetsuro Taira, we will always be there. Super fun fighter. And I think as of right now, deserves as high end prospects, but could easily move up to the next tier. Joshua Van, while he isn't even close to the rankings of these other two guys, is just, dude, every single Joshua Van fight is a banger. He is getting so much better so quickly, especially in the grappling, where his takedown defense is like suddenly world class against another guy we'll get to. But his most recent fight, he's super active, and just with how he's been beating people, how like clearly skilled this guy is, he will absolutely make it to the top of this division. He had kind of a
Mhm.
hiccup against Charles Johnson. People get caught, it happens. But I think he has way more potential than Charles Johnson, as much as I do like Charles Johnson. But we'll get to him later. Joshua Van is going to be a top level fighter at flyweight. He is super fun. Another fighter, we will always be there for a Joshua Van fight. And
Absolutely.
Amir Albazi, um, Charlie will say a lot more on it, but I just want to shout out that like before that Moreno fight, the he had some of the most debilitating, horrible injuries you could possibly have as an athlete to his neck and spine. Like there's a lot of hate for Amir Albazi, which I think is kind of undeserved. And Charlie, we'll get to that, but I just want to shout him out for getting through like a ton of neck and spine surgeries and still showing up to fight in the UFC at the top
Yeah.
level that he is.
Really.
That's pretty crazy.
In a
All right.
in a 5 rounder against Brandon fucking Moreno for so but yes, okay. I do want to talk about, right? First, his fight against Kai Car France, and the reason he's not in that tier is one of the worst. It's in my opinion the worst robbery in modern UFC history. By modern UFC history, I mean about the last 5 years. Okay, since the Venom, yes, no, since like the Apex was made. I'll say that. I think it's the worst robbery since then. It was so unbelievably clear Kai Car France's win. I mean, I would, dude. We talk about it in our, and if you want to go check out our 4 guys yapping about the UFC's worst robberies, we discussed that fight at length. Dude, it was so bad. So, and I think that is the worst thing that could have ever happened to both Amir Albazi and Kai Car France. It was so bad for both of them. That's why we need to get these fucking blind judges out of here. But it was so bad for both of them, dude. Kai Car France got robbed, got another loss on his record, ended up, doing fine. He ended up fighting Steve Erceg and KOing him, and now he has a title shot. So, he ended up fine for him, but still. And then Amir Albazi, dude, he shouldn't have won that. he shouldn't have got that win. It pushed him up way too fast when he wasn't ready. Then he had all those problems. He was super inactive because of, like Will said, brutal injuries and surgery. Like maybe he wasn't going to be able to ever fight again. Then it's like, okay, dude, it was a clear loss to Kai France. I know they gave him the win, but let's not push him against Moreno. Let's give him another guy. But no, they put him right against Moreno, and he gets fucking dog walked, right? I mean, he got the shit kicked out of him. But it's Brandon Moreno. So I still think he's a prospect. I think he has things to improve on. I still think he's good. He's not the youngest, but he's like 31 or something. So he probably has 2 or 3 more years before he's like, you know, I think he has like 2, 3, 4 more years of prime. And yeah, dude, I think Amir Albazi's good. I think he has a future in this sport. I just think he got rushed way too fast. He probably shouldn't even got the KKF fight, to be honest. Like it was one of those super like unnatural, unorganic rises through the rankings where he shouldn't have been going through the rankings like that. Like he was number 7 when he fought KKF with no ranked wins. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's fair to put him in this
Yeah,
tier.
no, that was just like it was just a perfect storm of like that horrible era of flyweight with and Moreno trading and just kind of ruining the division. Um, I mean, of course, those fights were heaters, but for the health of the division, it was awful. And then yeah, you get guys climbing to number 7 by doing nothing, and it's kind of really messed with Albazi's career because now everyone just writes him off as the guy who robbed Kai France. Like that's his fault that the judges chose that. So I see a lot of kind of unnecessary or undue disrespect for Amir Albazi when none of this shit is his fault. And he's also like not a bad guy. He's not like a cocky dickhead about it. He's just
Bro.
Amir Albazi. He's kind of nothing. Um,
Although, dude, Bilal tweeting that he thought Amir won. Fucking idiot.
I mean,
And
yeah, like
okay,
thanks Bilal for increasing hate on this dude, but yeah, whatever.
let's get on to the
Mhm.
next tier. We got the top 10 gatekeepers, right? And this is very self-explanatory. These are the gatekeepers who, if you beat them, you get into the top 10. Now, Tim Elliott is technically ranked number 11, but whatever. If you beat Tim Elliott, you're probably fucking jumping to gear to number 10. So, yeah, let's start. I mean, Alex Perez is the definition of a gatekeeper. Like, he has, like, that one win that he's kind of just hanging on to for dear life, and that is the Mateus Nicolau win. Every single other fight is a loss. But hey, Nicolau is actually a solid win, in my opinion.
Got
Maybe
cut
not
from
so
the
much anymore.
UFC like kind of stupidly, but let's not
Yeah.
get into that. Yeah,
Um,
Alex Perez
yeah.
always
So
a gatekeeper.
yeah, so he's this definition like top, maybe even close to top 5. I think he's ranked number 7 at this point. But and then we got Asuama Bayev, which I know he was like a prospect and then he lost, but dude, does he not just feel like a gatekeeper? Does his style of like kind of the boring wrestle fucker with a little bit of sauce on the feet? He just feels like a gatekeeper. He feels like the exact type of guy who's gonna be, win one, lose one, beat a Tim Elliott, beat a guy coming up, beat a Lonnie Kavanaugh, some type of prospect, and then end up losing to to a Tatsuro Taira on a rebound or something. That just or Steve Erceg, like we mentioned. That's just who he feels like. So I know he only really has one loss. Same with Tagir Ulanbekov. He only has one loss in the UFC to Tim Elliott. But dude, Tagir's not that good, right? He had a really close fight, not a really close fight, but he had like a 29-28 fight against Clayton Carpenter. I don't rate Clayton Carpenter very high. He of course lost to Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott cheated a bunch, but still, he lost to Tim Elliott. He beat Cody Durden really impressively, but I think he's gonna lose to Kyoji. I think he's kind of the runt of the litter of this whole Khabib camp, and he looks like a fucking cave troll. And then Tim
He's
Elliott,
definitely the runt genetically. Like, holy shit, this dude is inbred.
absolutely. And
Um,
then Tim Elliott, self-explanatory.
but about Tagir, um, not only is he just not all that good and deserves to be a gatekeeper by his skill alone, he's also so inactive that he's going to age himself out of like any top level contention. Like he will be how old is he now? I don't even know. But dude, this guy is so inactive. He's not gonna reach the top. He's not gonna ever talk about title contention with how little he fights. And he's just gonna be too old by the time he gets up there if he does. So Tagir, just a wasted skill set, just more stupid inactivity for no reason. And
Mhm.
is he one of the pullout merchants? I think he kind of is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhat. He pulled out against Van, so yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really have much to say about these other guys. Also, Almabayev, not too interesting. Tim Elliott is old as fuck. Like, oh my god, dude. I'm surprised he's still fighting. And then, let's just get to the next tier.
I do want to say Asu's lineup is clean as fuck, but
It
yeah.
is.
All right. We got low end prospects and low rank gatekeepers. This is kind of hard to explain. So first, the low end prospects. I'm not saying they are like bad prospects or they don't have the same potential that the high end prospects do. They just haven't reached that level yet, right? So specifically, I'm talking about Ramazan Temirov and Rafael Estevam, who are the, if you don't know, Estevam's the guy on the right, Temirov's the guy middle left. So yeah, they're exactly what that is. They are low end prospects who are kind of at the bottom of the rankings, who have potential clearly. Like Temirov had a great win against Charles Johnson. Estevam had a great win over Jesus Aguilar and Charles Johnson. But they needed to do a little more to get up into those rankings. They need to beat a top 10 gatekeeper. They need to beat an Alex Perez. They need to maybe have a competitive fight with a Kai Car France or something, right? So that's what I think. And then Charles Johnson is kind of in like a tier of his own. It was so hard to fit him into one of these tiers. I ended up putting him in this one because he isn't really a gatekeeper. Like he has potential to do so much, and he's so active, which helps. But we just see a lot of performances from him that are really uninspiring. Specifically, Suma Derji. What the hell? Why is
Dude,
that so
yeah,
close, dude? And
that's
then
aging horribly with how bad that Mitch Raposo fight was this last weekend. Um,
yeah,
yeah, you keep
and
going
then
though. I had to shout out how fucking bad that Mitch Raposo Sumaderji fight was.
absolutely horrible. And then Temirov beat Charles Johnson in like it was pretty, but Johnson just didn't, I don't know, he didn't really seem like he was in the fight. Like he turned it on in the third round momentarily, but then he just kind of cruised and ended up, winning the third, but losing the first two. And it was close, but it was like, dude, you knew the judges are going to give that fight to Temirov, as they should, because he was advancing, he was landing power shots on the guard, barely hitting him, but whatever, dude. Charles Johnson wasn't doing anything in those first two rounds. So he has those performances that are like, what the hell? And then he has the performances against Joshua Van, where it's like this 2 round war, and then the third round, he knows there's a chance he's down on the scorecards, so he comes out like a fucking bat out of hell and KOs him. And it's like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. And then he has the ones like against Rafael Estevam, similar to the Temirov fight. He loses the first 2 rounds, turns it on in round three, which I'll transition into Rafael Estevam. That's that guy's whole fucking style, but he's pretty good at it, and he's probably going to keep winning. He's so good at winning rounds one and two with his dominant grappling, insane wrestling, great control time, just ragdolls dudes, being Charles Johnson, Jesus Aguilar. Then in both those fights, he gasses in round three, like fucking clockwork, gasses in round three, gets beaten up, but wins 29-28. It's kind of crazy how it happens with this guy, but yeah. And then Bruno Silva is the definition of a low ranked gatekeeper. Like he's probably going to hang around that 12 to 15 range and beat some guys, lose to some guys. He's probably going to lose to Van, which is coming up. So yeah,
Yeah, I have the least to say about this. And I mean, you said more than enough. That sounded disrespectful as fuck, but I didn't mean it. Um, but yeah, let's just get on to the next tier because I think everything's been said.
yeah. And so here we got the unranked prospects. These are the guys who, and we'll get to more prospects later. These are the guys who are not ranked, pretty close, and they're not like, oh, these are fucking prospects, because that's, once again, that is just how flyweight is, man. It's just how it is, right? Andre Lima, of course, is the best out of these guys and the only guy who is undefeated in the UFC. He might be undefeated overall too. But these guys have all had hiccups. You know what I mean? Jesus Aguilar had the hiccup against Rafael Estevam. Of course, lost his debut to Tatsuro Taira, but no shame in either of those two losses. Andre Lima had that horrendous performance against Felipe dos Santos, who I think is terrible.
And
And
kind
then
of
Edgar,
and kind of Mitch Raposo. That fight was a complete stinker too.
absolute dud, yeah. And then Edgar Shirez, it's awesome, fucking amazing fighter. We'll get to him, but his favorite flyweight. Just a ridiculous strength of schedule when he loses. Then when he wins, he's like killing bums. But yeah, he felt like Tyra Van, maybe another killer. But yeah,
Yeah, Shirez, I'll start with him. I'm probably gonna skip Andre Lima. I just don't have much to say. He's kind of lame to me. I just don't care. But Shirez is my favorite flyweight. Um, Whenever he fights a guy worse than him, he just does literally whatever he wants, and all of his losses come against really good competition. I think I wouldn't say he's gotten unlucky because he's gotten to really like show his skill set in every single one of those losses, but I think he is absolutely slated to be a top 15 flyweight at least. I think he could even break top 10. Maybe keep improving. I don't know. I'm excited to see more Shirez fights. We will always be there. Super fun. Um,
Oh,
and
before you go to Aguilar,
yeah,
Shira Man is one of the most underrated fights of the last of 2024, dude. Watch that fight. It is I'm
yeah,
speechless. Yeah.
yeah. Jesus Aguilar, maybe my second favorite flyweight. He's just a finisher. He's really good. Pretty fan friendly style. Uh, the Shannon Ross KO was just beautiful watching that. I forgot what card that was on, but
290.
yeah,
Volk. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that card was so good. But that was
yeah.
a great way to open it up. So since then, I've been a Jesus Aguilar fan. He has losses against pretty good competition, and he's also beat some pretty solid guys. Hopefully, he can just put a win streak together. That's really all. Like I have to say about him is just he needs to win more, I guess. But he
Yeah.
definitely has a skill set to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get on to unranked. This is a hard tier because like I feel like two of these guys are not like the other, right? Cody Durden and Suma Derji are
Suma
like
Deraji, we should probably drop in score.
no. I just
No,
want these guys were ranked. Like these guys were like in that 10 to 15 gatekeeper range, and now they're kind of out of it. Of course, Sumaderji is shit, and that was an embarrassing performance against Mitch Raposo. But then he also has the ones against fucking Charles Johnson, and it's just hard with this fucking trash can. Anyways, so Cody Durden and Suma Derji are kind of like, yeah, they're unranked gatekeepers. If you beat them, you probably get a shot at the top 15. And then we got Alessandro Costa, who's solid. He has like that, classic win loss gatekeeper. But his losses, I do want to mention, are fucking insane. It's Steve Erceg and Amir Albazi. He came in on short notice against Albazi, ended up getting knocked out. Then then got a win against like Jimmy Flick. It had to have been. It was that was the Jimmy. So came in, got a win against Jimmy Flick. Then ended up fighting Erceg on the come up and getting beat pretty soundly. Close fight, but he got beat soundly. And then he ends up beating who the hell did he beat? It was an absolute bum. No, it was Kevin Borjas, who not great. So yeah, he has like horrible quality wins and high quality losses. It's kind of crazy with this guy. And then Ode Osborne is whatever.
he sticks around. Cody Durden took a horrible beating against Joshua Van, so I think we're putting him here because he's probably on the decline. He's kind of older. He's taken a lot of damage. He has like a good amount of heart, but how long can this guy stick around like that? Sumaderji, dude. I mean, Charlie already said it. That Mitch Raposo fight was so bad. Mitch Raposo is so good at putting on stinkers. Like,
He is,
oh my
dude.
god, that guy
Fucking
sucks.
boring fight legend, Mitch
Yeah.
Raposo, dude. Shout out.
New England Cartel is done. That gym sucks. It's washed. Anyway, Alessandro Costa. I mean, let's just see him against a decent guy, and then maybe he can move up or down. Like, he's just,
It's literally he fights like top 10 flyweights
yeah,
or fucking bums. It's
yeah.
crazy. And he's super inactive as well. Gotta see him in that cage again.
O'Day just KO'd Garul, which was hilarious. With Garul's fat ball head. But O'Day, I thought he was going to get cut before that. He's stuck around. Good on him. He's O'Day
Yeah,
Osborne. He gets KO'd. He can KO you back. What do you say?
exactly. And has no grappling. But hey, he's a fun fighter. All right. Let's get on to our final tier. We got the prospects. So they're in quotations for a reason. These are guys who are like they're prospects. Like they're young and they might not Maxim, I'll get to him. They're young and like they have potential in the sport, but like I mean, really, this is the best this division has to offer, which is just a thing with flyweight. The depth is so poor. When we get to bantamweight, which will probably be coming out later this week, that's where it's like, ooh, it's fun. Even though that division's overrated, it's still better than flyweight. So yeah, let's just start. Azat Maksum, once again, kind of the elephant in the room here. I know the guy hasn't fought in like 2 years. I know he's not that good. I had to put him on here because it was a close fight with Charles Johnson. He had a very close fight with Tyson Nam. He's not good. He probably shouldn't be on here, but dude, it's whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like it's flyweight, man. It's flyweight. This is how it is. I think he still has potential. Yeah.
I don't know if he does. I think this guy's ass. But uh,
Dude, that
I
that
mean,
was like, dude,
people call him a prospect.
that's kind of
Yeah,
the idea. And we'll get to who's not on the screen, but we will talk about you, Ronaldo Rodriguez, when we're
yeah.
done with these guys.
So Lonnie Kavanaugh, He is clearly a pretty good striker. He has some big holes in his striking game. His grappling against Dos Santos was pretty solid. Um, ish.
But
Yes,
it's fucking Felipe dos
yeah.
Santos who has some of the worst grappling of all time.
Yeah. But Lonnie, he has really, really bad abilities. Like he punches himself into range. His distance management is awful. But other than that, I mean, he has good power. He just so far not been too impressed with his UFC showings against Dos Santos and Ochoa. They're both 29-28. He didn't arguably lose either of them, but I'd like a little bit more domination or like a finish, especially against Dos Santos, whose chin isn't all that. Um,
I would like to say, like, comparing those, like, dude, Antoine Ho, the guy he beat on the Contender Series, is really fucking good. So it makes no sense why he's just so shit in the UFC. But
mhm.
yeah,
Ray Saruya, he was fun before, fun to kind of think about before his last fight. But dude, thinking back on it, his first performance in the UFC was awful. That fight sucked, and now recently just got absolutely dog walked and embarrassed by Joshua Van. No one cares about this guy anymore. Everyone's clowning him. Kind of sucks. That was horrible matchmaking on the UFC's part. But dude, like this guy has absolutely no striking at all. If you
hmm
want to talk some more about Ray Saruya.
yeah. Oh, I almost just said something, dude. I almost said I'll top off Ray Saruya. That's
Yeah, okay.
wild. Okay, I will finish off race, dude. I will I will finish talking about Ray Saruya.
Okay, there you
Okay.
go. Good job.
I will finish talking about Ray Saruya. Yeah, like Will said, like some of the worst, dumbest matchmaking I've ever seen from the UFC. Like that was such an embarrassing performance. He looks so bad. He has absolutely nothing on the feet. But hey, the guy's grappling is really solid. It's filthy. Hit some sick throws against Van. You know, pretty much dominated Carlos Hernandez outside of a few moments in the grappling. So yeah, and then I'll finish off with Stuart Nickel. He's pretty good. I still think he has potential. Of course, he lost his debut against Aguilar, then fucking disappeared into thin air. I'd like to see him fight again. I don't know if he has a fight. I don't think so. But yeah, he's solid. I think he's has a future in this sport. Tough debut and tough loss against Aguilar, but he's yeah, I think he's got something more. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not too familiar with Stuart Nickel as he did lose to Aguilar and disappear. But he got guillotined. That happens, and Aguilar is not a terrible loss to have, so he can definitely come back and win. Not like Azat, who's a complete bum, or Ray Saruya, who might
Or
struggle in the future.
or Ronaldo Rodriguez. Can we start on Ronaldo now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, dude. We have hated on Ronaldo Rodriguez so much on this channel. Like, if you go through all of our videos, like half of them we're just fucking shitting
Especially
on the
around
guy
UFC Mexico City, we always bring him up and always hate on him.
for a good reason. He's fucking garbage. I was saying it, dude, and this shit pisses me off because people hopped on the Ronaldo sucks train. I was on the Ronaldo sucks train when I saw him. I was like, oh, there's this new guy debuting against Denise Bondar, and he's like this hyped up prospect. Wait. This guy lost to Jerome fucking Rivera. Jerome Rivera. So I was like, okay, Jerome Rivera is like one of the worst UFC fighters ever. So I was like, okay, he fucking blows then, right? He comes in, debuts, has a close fight with Denise Bondar, and ends up subbing him. Whatever. He's kind of crafty on the ground. He's tricky on the ground, you know what I mean? Right? But I was like, okay, this guy's fucking awful. He's so bad. So he goes and fights Ode, and I'm like, dude, Ode's gonna KO him. Of course, Ode drops him really bad, then tards out and loses the fight for himself. That sucked to see. And I was like, dude, Ronaldo is so fucking bad. Anytime now he's gonna lose. Ends up fighting Borjas. Slam that Borjas underdog money line, and he gets dominated because he's terrible at fighting. I don't know how anyone ever considered him a prospect. I don't know how the fuck he has fans with his stupid Minecraft head fucking Dude, I don't like him.
Close,
All right.
close. Also, dude, even within flyweight, like Ronaldo Rodriguez, if we're going off Instagram followers and exposure, this dude is ridiculously popular for no reason. He doesn't like he might be a cool guy, but it does not translate whatsoever to in cage skills. He is not good at all. And even in flyweight, you have Shirez, you have Aguilar, you have Moreno, who are all worlds better than him. And I especially like to shout out Aguilar and Shirez because, of course, Moreno's been here. He's proven himself. He is like the face of Mexican MMA. But dude, Shirez and Aguilar, both super entertaining, both cool guys. Why don't they get even close to the amount of respect that Ronaldo Rodriguez has among like the community? It doesn't make any sense.
No
Ronaldo
fucking.
Rodriguez sucks. He's going to get cut from the UFC, even though they're probably going to try to keep him around. Jump ship from Ronaldo Rodriguez. I'm telling you, go like become a fan of Shirez or Aguilar. It is a way, like you will be rewarded for it. Both those
Yeah.
guys are awesome.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our flyweight divisional tiering video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, just comment, if you thought we got someone wrong, if you thought someone should move up, someone should, move down. If you think we didn't include someone altogether who should be on here, let us know. And yeah, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff you want. We will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.
Fire.
Stop.